this would be a good way to remember and to honor those who were sent to camp.
At each relocation of freedom, quarters were being built for the civilian setouts.
My name is Kanji Sahara. I was born in Hiroshima, Japan, and then I came to the U.S. when I was about a half-year old. The city was, segregated so that there were certain parts where the Japanese were living, other parts where the white people were living. So then everybody on our block in Los Angeles went to camp in 1942. While I was 8 years old at that time, so when they said that, we're going to be relocated or evacuated, I didn't know what the words meant. First, we were sent to San Anita. People were all put in what they call the assembly centers. And these are temporary facilities. I think they had about 8,000 people living in the stables where the horses used to live. And they had about 10,000 people living in the barracks which were built. So there's about 30 or 40 blocks in a camp in Arkansas. So then you're identified by the block that you live in. So like you're a block 19 guy. So I was a block 19 guy. The tag was, you got on the train so you won't get lost. So the train ride was, I don't know, I think 2 or 3 days to get to Arkansas from here. And then they had guards at each, car of the train. So nobody would try to run out. And then when the train stopped at a small, station on the way, you're supposed to, close the drapes or close what's called the curtain. And we could realize that, maybe the government didn't want the public to know that there's a train full of Japs going to Arkansas. After we left camp, our family settled in Chicago. I don't know if we could have come back to California, but we didn't have anything left. Because remember, before that time, Japanese couldn't buy property in California. From Arkansas, if you went up north to Chicago, there was people, Japanese living free in Chicago. If you went west to Salt Lake City, there were Japanese living free in Salt Lake City. So the only people that went to camp were the California people, California, Oregon, and Washington. When you're in camp, and you're 8 years old, 10 years old, you don't know how unjust that is. You think that's natural. So I thought it was natural for a long time. When they see the 120,000 names, it'll be really powerful. That's the best way to remember a person, to remember his name. And here we have his name on the wall. So that's how we're going to remember these people. The people 100 years from now will remember what happened in 1942. And it symbolizes a time in American history where there was a lot of discrimination against the Japanese people. So when people come here and see all the names, they think, what happened? And let's not let it happen again. So I think, this will be a good way to remember and to honor those who were sent to camp.
I'm Anne Burrows. I'm the president and CEO of the Japanese American National Museum. My experience as a young activist, as a political prisoner in South Africa, being involved in the anti-apartheid struggle was something that shaped who I am. My entire career has been focused on racial justice, on social justice, and on civil rights and human rights work in different capacities. When I came to JANM, I came as an interim CEO. My predecessor had left, and I had not thought for a moment that I would be here for almost 9 years. You can't look at the American story without looking at the good and the bad. The incarceration of Japanese Americans, the forced removal of over 120,000, their dispossession, the dislocation of families, the breaking up of communities. That was in such a direct violation of the constitutional protections that everybody enjoys in this country, whether you're a citizen or whether you're a non-citizen. It's really understanding what can happen when the lessons of history are not remembered. If we don't learn the lessons of history, then history will be repeated. That's why it's important to teach about the incarceration. That's why it's important that institutions like JANM exist. It's important why monuments like the World War II camp wall exists. It's a constant reminder that if we're not vigilant, the past will happen again. And we're seeing it now. And students who may not be Japanese American, who are not connected to the camps, have to know that it can happen again at any time, and it could happen to their communities. When you see those names on that wall and you see those Japanese names, you get a sense of what the impact was, not just on the individuals and the families, but on California and on US history.